This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the NECROMANCER live show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the NECROMANCER live show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us. Welcome to the NECROMANCER live show. This stream will begin in time. Thank you for your patience. Grab a drink, sit back, and explore the paranormal with us.
As far back as I can remember, I dreamt of a normal life. A life filled with normal things. A life where monsters don't live in closets or under the bed. A life where ghosts aren't real. I just wanted to be normal. But that didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. Since my early 20s, I have experienced profound paranormal events that would change my life. Extreme poltergeist activity, living amongst those that have departed this earth in ways unimaginable. It has affected my loved ones and children with no end in sight. I could hear things, see things, and feel things not of this world. I asked myself if this was a gift or a curse. With the help of my mother and close friends, I emerged a paranormal investigator. Since 2013, I have been on a relentless journey to learn about the paranormal. I invite you to follow me into the unknown. Welcome to the NECROMANCER live show.
Hello and welcome to the NECROMANCER live show. I'm your host, Justin Brown, and we have someone tonight. I just got done spending the shortest hour of my life. Didn't it seem like it went by like in 5 minutes?
Yeah, it did.
What's up, Holly?
Just hanging around with this bearded guy.
Yeah, trying not to get the corkscrews.
Yeah,
We got Missy in the background. When she talks, it'll switch to her screen, so she's probably going to be quiet until she has got to read comments, or she can talk whenever. I'll just switch to my face like this, so Skype doesn't switch back and forth like you know what. But thank you for coming on. I know I sprung this on you. I don't know, what was it, on the weekend, Monday, something crazy?
Yeah, it was. And I was like, when am I free? I'm like, why not? Let's just do it this week. Like, why not?
Just do it now and get it over.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, because next week I may not want to.
get comfortable being a hermit, sometimes you don't want to.
Oh, I know. I don't want to all the time.
Yeah, but some of the time, and then you got to ride that. So you jump on it and ride the hell out of it. So here we are, and I think it's wonderful. Spirit always knows.
Well, I mentioned on your show that, I kind of give an analogy that on our spiritual commute every day, I see you, driving, same time, same station, same channel. So, I feel like there's not a whole lot of people that I know of that I could say that about.
Yeah.
But
no, I agree. I agree on that wholeheartedly. And actually, it's something I've been sitting with lately because my path recently has, I have moved again. And when you're on your spiritual path and when you live your spiritual path, you're always moving and ascending and moving out of stagnation and out of your comfort zone. And Spirit's always pushing you out and above and but you always got them constants, them people that that are on your level, who have your understanding, because it's so different having such a deep understanding and having a conversation with someone without them looking at you like, no, I really don't relate, like they do, but no, you don't, because it's a whole understanding on a whole nother level that is still, I always tell people, I'm like, this is new to me too. Like exploring the consciousness, where do you start with that?
good question. Before I answer, what's up, Heath? What's up, Derek? Thanks for coming. It's consciousness is what it is. It's, hey, you spirit person, you need this. You're not going to know why you need it. It's actually going to be in front of your face why, but you're going to not want to look at it. Because they want you, I guess, the higher selves or the powers that be, whatever you call them, we don't know. We just give them names and labels and personifications, but we don't know.
No.
But it feels like when you think you know, you just don't know. And I feel like that is the coolest thing about consciousness and about the reality we're in. Like, there is a facade. Feels like a facade, looks like a facade to those who know that it's fake.
Yes.
But what lies behind isn't something that you can try to pinpoint like you think you can here. It's so morphic, it changes, it will trick you, it will do everything but reveal to you anything fundamental about anything.
Well, absolutely. It's because when we talk about the consciousness, you want to think of it as just like a state of mind. But the truth is, beyond the consciousness, that's a doorway. The consciousness has been so unexplored. Now, mind you, there have been great like psychonauts of our times and before that have been able to explore and give us the knowledge that we have today. Obviously you have people who are explorers and may not even realize that's who they are, but potato, it's it's a way to identify someone. But an explorer, someone who can go within themselves and get past their own healing, to go further and to go deeper into a world that is so much more different than what we've been taught about. And that's another thing. It's on the other side of fear, and it's on the other side of shadow work. It's the other side of healing. It's the other side of all the things that we have been exposed to and taught from the time that we come into this world and our generations before us. So the healing, that's the thing about healing is just not healing traumas. It's healing ways of life. It's healing perceptions. It's being able to get past that fear. Fear is huge. Because just imagine, like you said, it's like we're in a Sims and we're on the Truman Show and you're Truman in your world and everybody else is background players. And like we pass each other and we see each other and we're aware that's what it's like. Now there's more people, I feel like there's on the highway, like we're like, oh, hey, I see you. It's getting a little bit closer, a little bit more vast. A lot of people are awakening around us. The world's changing and it's scary.
Yeah, the New Age spiritual movement has a lot to do with it, the internet and the boom of social media and how easy it is to connect with people and to share information. It
Yes.
That is making it explode right now. It's been doing it since early 2000s, and since 2010 to present, it's been cray.
Yeah, it is.
It is cray. So you're a healer of the spiritual kind.
Yes.
It's not always mystical and witchy and spiritual. Sometimes it's just, hey, I see you for who you are.
Yeah.
I care
Yeah.
about you. I love you. How does those things translate into the spiritual? Because, everybody physically needs those things. Let's not kid ourselves, because, a lot of people will trick themselves into believing they need no one.
Yep.
They're fine on their own. They couldn't be any more wrong. The more you isolate yourself and the more time you spend in solitude, the further divide yourself from the things that you physically need and spiritually need. Let's just face it. Can we kind of talk about that? It goes from a place of suffering and to a point you realize that you're done with that. You need to transition into something that heals you and transforms you into a positive thing. Can you give an example maybe of something that you've done or an experience you've had to kind of give people the idea of how important it is and how some people don't realize they're in that state and need to come out of it?
Yeah, well, I think most of us are in that state and don't realize it. I think, the energy you're talking about, and that's the important part. It's energy. It's feeling safe. I started realizing that by just being with someone, talking to someone, that I was triggering things within other people to allow them to heal. And the thing about it is we'll block the hell out of any kind of healing we need to do because it's uncomfortable. That uncomfortability will keep you in that same cycle. And this is another thing. We're looking at cycles. We're looking at we're looking at trauma cycles that run through families. We're looking at societal traumas that run deep through society from the beginning of time. So as a healer, as the connection that I have as a spiritual person, it is one of those things with self-mastery. It's you master yourself. You start being your own healer. I mean, that's the thing about it is like I don't heal anyone. I put a space that is safe for people to heal themselves. I am a mirror for people, but in a loving way. And guys, we all mirror each other. That's the thing. And some of us don't like what we're looking back at. And that's the reason we clash at some energies. Now others will see you as a threat and others will see you as, oh my God, you just said something that made sense to me as a healer, as I can put it into words that, somebody else may not understand and they just get it. It's just like that people understand what you're trying to say. Because even for myself on my healing path, when I first started trying to understand myself, I was like I was trying to read, I was trying to gain information, but all of it made no sense to me. And it has to be on a perception. That the perception is what you are connected to. Take away all the confines and all the preconceived notions of what we've been taught. Okay, so we've been taught that we have this path where we grow up in the other world. And I say the other world, and I'll explain that because the way that we are taught is like we get a job, we go to college, we go to school, we go to college, we get a good paying job, and we have the American dream. Okay, so we have a lot of people that's walking around trying to have the American dream. And then what we have is a very unhealthy relationship with yourself because you have been told what to do, how to do it, when your mind cannot possibly work that way or it is not pulled to go that way. So we have a lot of people who are just walking around who are disconnected from themselves. I think that's where it starts from. Spiritual or not, whatever path you're walking on, I always said it's not linear. It's all spiral. It's all the spiral. Your path is you're always coming back to things. You're always coming back to lessons. And in front of us, every day of our life is a lesson. If something makes you unhappy, it's a lesson. You got to learn what the lesson is trying to show you. That unhappiness, the emotions that we have. Most of us walk around, we don't have any kind of clue how we truly feel or why we feel the way we do or where it comes from. That's not right. Like that is to me, where I come from, where I'm connected to, what I've been taught. That is not how we are supposed to be. And now we're in the generation of, okay, we've got this big awakening happening. We've got very, very ancient knowledge that is accessible for each one of us. A lot of the channel messages over the years for a lot of us, just not me. And that's the beautiful part about it, is like you connect with all these different people who are saying the same thing, is to remember who we are. I mean, you know, the synchronicities of life just hit you, and you follow those synchronicities in your life, and it pulls you in whatever way. But whatever way it pulls you in, you're supposed to pay attention to it. And that's the whole thing. We're not paying attention to ourselves.
You're right. And we're going to talk about why. We're going to talk about why. Okay. So, first thing I wrote down is us spiritualist people like to call shadow work. The reason we fear is, you know, we fear the shadow. We fear the, you know, seeing ourselves for who we are and dealing with it. You know, who wants to do that? Not me. Okay. Cycles. I feel like, you know, a lot of people feel like you're born, you live, and you die. And it's put forth to you in your mind as linear. But your psychology really don't work that way. And I think it's funny that your psychology doesn't work that way, because it really does not make sense to the soul. Mm-hmm. So to just start and end, it doesn't have like a meaning that makes sense to the soul. Like that don't make sense to the soul, but it kind of is fed to us as a living person, because that's what we see, that was we deal with. We got tombstones in the graveyards, we got ashes on the, you know, the shelf there. Right. That's like a finalized concept to people, so that, you know, we just ride this ride and then that's it. But why does the, you know, my reasoning for why the mind doesn't, or the soul doesn't buy it and the consciousness has issues, is we tend to block what our, you know, what that fear is that you're talking about. So it kind of stops us from healing, doing the things we need to do. But the psychology of the mind is in a state that does not want to confront these things in a healthy way. And I feel like that needs to be fleshed out before the end of the show. Trap of conformity, I thought, was something interesting to talk about, because everybody basically deals with it in this country. You know, you have to work the 9 to 5 or whatever. If your second, third shift don't matter, you're still grinding. You're paying the bills, paying the taxes, paying for your, you know, feed your kids and all that. And that is extremely taxing on anyone, and it just sucks the life force and the soul out of everyone. So I feel like, you know, talking about that a bit more is definitely valuable. And life, I wrote down lifestyles, and I don't remember why.
Of the not so rich and famous.
Yeah, maybe I'll remember why. But how in the hell? Let's start with the very first one. How is it easier to do the shadow work? Like, what's the first steps of making it like easy enough to you can, you know, add it to your daily routine to, you know, kind of make it not as bad?
I think the number one thing that you can do is start catching yourself when you are in a negative frame of mind, or something that's triggering you into a negative frame of mind. I found that was what led me. It was like, oh, I don't like that, or I don't have to be angry all the time. And I learned that my reactions was going to be the outcome of how my whole energy field was going to be. And I said, fuck that. I said, I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to live this way. I'm not an angry person. I'm not a depressed person. What is making me depressed? What is making me angry? It is dealing with your emotions. But more importantly, how to start out just tippy-toeing, putting your big toe in there and wondering if you're going to like it. Because I know for me, once you go through that process, once you step through the crack in the wall, there's no turning back, honey. You might as well buckle up, lube that asshole, and walk on, because the truth is, why wouldn't you want to heal? Why wouldn't you want to face those shadow parts of yourself? I call it a mind prison. People call it many different things. In today's society, we resonate with shadow work. It's okay. Whatever helps you to perceive that and understand that. That's the important part. It's not so much of what everybody believes, it's what you believe and resonate with. But yeah, just starting to correct yourself to say, hey, I don't have to be in that mindset. I can correct that mindset. I can change my mindset, and that's going to change my path going forward. I'm going to listen to my thoughts and what I'm telling myself. You know, that's important. How do I feel about myself? Because all that's going to start to show you the layers of healing that you need to do. And yes, layers of healing, I said, because I'm still healing myself. I'm healing, I'm pushing forward. I am, breaking down all these barriers that have been put in place. And my mind says they need to be there because it's comfortable. We all like to be comfortable, and not just comfortable, but numb. We numb the hell out of ourselves, and we do it with food. We do it with everything. We do it with TV. We do it with sex, alcohol, whatever it is that numbs you. It's numbing. And so it is, they say it is a way for me to deal. It's a way for me to disconnect. But what it's doing is numbing you. It is not allowing you to process, and you are not processing. You're running away from a process. And this is the messed up part, is you can't run away from it once it starts in your life. Once you start to recognize this about yourself, and you start to be so much more curious about it, it's going to keep trickling in on you. So the feelings that you have is going to keep coming until you understand where they're coming from. Layers upon layers. So yeah, it's not an easy path. Healing and the glitz and glamour. And I love that you said that before, because people like to think, oh, I'm a witch, I'm a this or that. Oh, look at me. Oh, well, let's talk about me, laying in bed for the last couple of days and healing some deep wounds within myself, and rising from them wounds and not becoming a victim of my own circumstances, so that's where I'm going with that. It's all about being self-aware of your thoughts.
I know when you say that, it sounds easy.
I know,
right?
I know, it does.
Psychologically speaking, we get stuck in behavior patterns, okay? Habits, we're going to call them habits.
Yes.
How to break out of the habits, how to look into the mirror, maybe even physically, because a lot of times, there's very few times when we look in the mirror and we're looking at ourselves, our perception dramatically changes. I've looked at research for animals and humans with EEGs on their freaking heads. When they look in mirrors, things get weird.
Yes.
Okay, so I think that if you have a daily routine in the bathroom like most people, and you got your mirror there, maybe make it a routine at looking at yourself in the mirror in a newer way.
Yes.
And even meditation, simple meditation, like listening to yourself breathe and trying to find your pulse somehow, whether it's pressure on your pulse somewhere, or it doesn't really matter. Being aware of your vital signs of, different parts that are you, and your own reflection literally can help. Because you're actually looking at yourself instead of everything being external. It's easy to just push yourself out of the equation.
Yes.
So, do you have any other better ideas, like to break yourself out of the behavior patterns we have and the behaviors we have?
I love that you mentioned that, because years ago when I first was on my healing journey, one of the things was self-love. And for me, it was very important. and I would stand in front of the mirror naked, and I still do it. Like I'll get all up in there. And I'll look at my body. Listen, our bodies are always changing as a woman.
Oh, I know.
We have such deep, but men have it too. Y'all just don't know how many, not y'all, but it's serious though. Men have been taught that it's not okay to be vulnerable about their emotions. But this is the thing about it, is we all suffer from self-image issues. What we see in the mirror, just like you said, you stand about, I think they said, 6 feet away from it. That's what you look like to other people. As we hone in on ourselves, let me tell you, I have, and I'm like, man, look at that chin hair. I mean, I'm at that age where the chin hairs are there, and I can't
Look at my chin hair.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, look at this. What's happening here? And
check out my titties.
Exactly. I'm like, what's happening with that one? Is this one a little bit higher than the other? Guess what, ladies? One of your boobs is always going to be bigger than the other. Oh well. And guess what? Your man's going to love you, or your woman's going to love you.
Just suck on the other one more, and it balances out.
It does. Exactly. I think that's actually what happened. Is I breastfed, and he sucked on one more than the other. But anyway. But no, all women are that way. We're all symmetrically, get this, because we was mentioning the masculine and feminine side. We all have a masculine and feminine side within us. That is the energy. It's a balance within ourselves. And so you can always tell when someone is more feminine or masculine, whether you are, whatever you identify with, it doesn't matter. We're all masculine and feminine. We have that balance that we have to take care within ourselves as well. And sorry, I know I went way off topic there.
Go ahead.
Talking about getting naked in front of the mirror. It is facing your view on yourself, because let me tell you, you can change anything that you want by surgery or by makeup or by clothes to hide things, but the truth is still there. You are you. And then you should be proud of you, because we're all unique. And something that was brought to my attention earlier this week was our fingerprints again. And I always okay, spirit has me doing weird shit all the time. That's why I make weird ass posts all the time, because I'm like, whoa. I know somebody else is experiencing it.
Do you make weird posts?
No. I bet, asking if anybody was having meatloaf today, because, about
I saw that one.
Yeah, it was because that whole week, my mom, actually the same day, my mom and my mom and them made meatloaf, and then 5 other people made meatloaf.
You live in Appalachia, Holly. Everyone's eating meatloaf.
It's not true.
It is true.
Some of us eat deer. Some of us eat meat. And you know what I'm saying? It's not there's no coincidence. We're all connected, and it's amazing when you really sit down and analyze and ask a question to someone, and you see that you're not the only one that's having that same synchronicity or that same feeling. See what I'm saying? It gets deep. My mind is but anyway.
I understand.
Get in front of the mirror naked. You got to love yourself. You got to accept yourself. Being authentic into yourself. They say the highest vibration is love. I agree with that. However, what trumps that is authenticity, because in authenticity, you are able to love yourself completely, and you are able to receive love completely. Authenticity is also being okay with being vulnerable, with being yourself. So it's being 100% yourself to you and to other people.
I agree with that, but let me run this by you.
Yeah.
Love is not a single-celled organism.
No.
It has many, many cells. Authenticity is definitely one of them. Okay. Yep. And I feel I don't want to get trapped in singular definitions love, it's more abstract. So I feel like authenticity is definitely in there, but I wanted you to kind of take a look at that interpretation of it. I don't want to put authenticity above love. It's a part of the entity of love.
It is. Well, you have to have authenticity to have the pure connection, divine connection to yourself. It's
you got to be real.
It is, because if you can't face yourself, you're not being authentic, and that lack of authenticity is blocking you from growth. So as long as you are not facing those things about yourself. So, I mean, it's all different verbiage here or there, whatever resonates with you, take it how you will. But, a good metaphor will get you anywhere.
Derek, you are absolutely not an asshole, but if someone pisses you off, you know how to bring it. So, and that's what I notice about a lot of people. Derek is like a lot of people. Like they'll take their own shirt off their back. They'll work 5,000 hours a week just to give it all away to the people they love and care about. But when someone crosses a line, they're doing those things and they can only take so much. You have to deflect some negative off of yourself, or that will eat you up and kill you. Okay. So that if you got to be an asshole to let people know they're crossing a line, so be it.
Yeah, well, see, that's another thing. For me, it took me. People see who I am today. They didn't see me 20 years ago when I was just in the pits of hell. Really diving into who I was, and you really start to analyze them things about your. Fuck, I forgot where we were going. I lost it. How did I get it back in?
Well, we were talking about Derek and him being an asshole, but not really an asshole.
Oh, the asshole, yeah. So I've been called confrontational. And this is the thing, guys. When you start, I know, right? I'm the biggest, I don't know, people. And this is the thing. I finally figured out why. Because if someone tells me something about myself, I will analyze myself. I'll let my ego down because I know that's very, very important. And our ego is our defense mechanism, and it will go and get in your way when you need to heal some shit about yourself. So yeah, I always listen to people if they say something shitty. I'm like, well, am I? Like, and am I that way? And I start sitting with myself and I'm like, no, this is the thing. People see you as confrontational when you're authentic because you're not holding back. Your throat chakra is wide open. So you say what you say and you're authentic about it. You're real about it. People are walking around wanting to say things, but they can't because their throat chakra is so stopped up. That energy ends up, coming out of your body in some way, shape, or form, in some kind of illness. Because guess what? You don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. You don't want nobody to think badly of you. Well, screw all that, because you have to really, in your authenticity, and I mean that in the best of ways, and it's being able to take up for yourself. It's being able to speak up. So speaking up does not make you confrontational unless you're just being an asshole. And, in this case, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being authentic in yourself, in your voice, and your feelings and who you are.
Yeah, I think speaking your mind and confrontational might be teetering, but it's not the same. I don't feel like
it's not. It just depends on the situation, and that's very situational. You could put it on, it's like calling someone a freaking narcissist. Everybody's a narcissist, Oh, come on, let's talk about that situation. But anyway,
let's take a look at love, because I feel like love is definitely something we really need to flesh out to understand how we can heal. So when you look at love, what do you think of? Unconditional, like you can do no wrong, stuff like that. That's what people are, yearn for. That's what they need. They need to feel like they're loved and they can do no wrong. If they do wrong, it's not like a biblical judgment upon them or something to that degree. It's like, oh, you are made imperfect. Yeah. You are going to have to process that imperfection. How do you process that? With love, understanding just that you're imperfect, but just knowing that you're imperfect is not enough. You got to have a will to be better, but you're never going to be perfect. So there's a delicate balance there. But do you have anything else to add with that? How can we love ourselves the way we need to, and how do we love others? Outside who we normally love, like mom, dad, spouse, offspring, siblings. Yeah. I mean, how do we how do we heal with love? How do we do that?
I think healing with love is truly unconditional. And if love comes with conditions in your life, then that's what we've always experienced, because them conditions tell you that you must be this way or act this way, or be seen as this way to be loved. And so we've let society manipulate us into thinking that, into a mind prison, that if we are not this way, then we are not loved. Love is not just about relationships. Love is about our connection with our fellow humans. It's about our connection with Mother Earth. It's our connection with everything, everything. And so the thing about unconditional love is God, that's a good one. That's a good teeter line too. I could get into a whole conversation about that. But just on the overall aspect of trying to bring love in your life, love is a vibration of the highest, and that is being able to take something that is negative in your life and choosing to change it in some way, shape, or form, or having enough boundaries in your life to bring you into a space of love, because that love is a vibration, and we follow that vibration. If you notice, when we do feel love in our hearts, it's this feeling that you can't replace. For me, I always say it's like soulful. Like, it's just no money, no amount of money could ever replace that feeling that you have when you feel that love. And again, love isn't attached to just another person to fulfill you, but we should be fulfilling ourselves with love.
So I'm a big guy that I can't talk. I'm a big believer. I'm a big believer in drawing from what our ideas of love are. Like, you think of the most, how much love did I feel in one instance? So when I saw my children being born and holding them and looking at them for the very first time, what does that mean? It's not going to mean the same thing for everyone. Obviously, people find their kids in dumpsters. Yeah, right? But for me, that feeling of love and transference, like I feel like love is like the purest force carrier of information. And that information is that you can do no wrong, that you are, connecting with that person in the highest, purest way. It's like a transmission. Yeah. It's like energy going from one source to a destination. And to me, I felt that transmission from me to another life form that I connected with. And, there's no other larger way or better way to connect with your own child, in my eyes. So I draw from that. I'll be like, okay, how can I use that experience and that feeling and that idea for other beneficial things, like healing, everyday, stuff. That's what I try to do. Like, and this is how my mind works. And I hopefully this kind of helps people. So I'll look at something horrible that happens every day in the world, murder, rape, you name it, bad stuff. And I'll just compare it to my situation. When you do that, it lessens your situation. And that's just how psychology works. It is.
It's like watching Hoarders.
It can, yes.
Same mindset, yeah.
Yeah, so I try to do that because I try to, it's not like people are overblowing or overthinking their situation. It's just our brains are comparison machines. We suffer a lot because we feel like everybody else is having it good, but you, in most cases. Yeah, but that's not really true. You can find other sources of pain and suffering that are way more than yours and gauge it to yours. So I feel like that is, a lot of healing is psychological. Let's just face it.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely, it is. It's all psychological, not just, okay, let me reverse. Spirit's going to kick my ass for this because it's not just psychological, but the biggest portion is the breakthrough is psychological. That is, then I say breakthrough because this whole mindset of what love is. Now, let me tell you something. I got to bring this up because we're in a generation now of I can't move out of my bedroom because I have so much emotional trauma. And what we're seeing here is I was not properly loved, so I don't know how to love. Now for me, I was not, there was areas where I felt unloved emotionally but for myself, I knew that I was going to love more than I wasn't loved, that I was going to find that love within myself, and I was going to give that love to like, for instance, my children. For me, I've struggled with mother issues, and I knew that I didn't want to be that way going forward. It's like you make choices going forward, and you can compare your life to someone else, whatever helps you to put you in the mindset of, I have it good. It could be worse. But the thing about it is we're still putting ourselves in a mind comfort, because that's what makes us feel good, right? That's what brings in them feelings to make us feel better about the situations that are happening around
Eddie
us.
Pence agrees with us a lot.
So what is happening around us right now in the world? And you talk about, see, I don't watch the news. I'm disconnected from society. I live in a world of higher vibrational being. And people are like, what do you mean by that? And I always feel like, for me, it's crazy. My journey's been crazy. My whole life, the past 2 years have been crazy. But it's a mindset. It is so a mindset, and that goes back to psychology. And then you find yourself questioning your damn sanity about, I don't know how many damn times, but there's that. But yeah, loving yourself unconditionally, it starts with that, and also understanding that we're all human. We're all human. We all make mistakes. And by the design that we have within our human DNA right now has been, you got to understand, we come from ignorance. People, it's not that they're bad people. It's just they're ignorant and they don't know better. So they go with what makes them feel good, that makes them feel comfortable. So that's why we have division. That's why we have so much division amongst the people, and that's the thing that Spirit has really taught me and showed me. And I've even had people have issues like they couldn't understand me not wanting to see people differently. Like, oh, you're supposed to see people differently. What do you mean you don't see people like that? I'm like, I don't see people like that. I see souls. And I think that's something that we should start looking at is, when we look in that mirror, you're looking at your own soul. When you look into your own eyes, you're looking into your own soul. Being able to connect with yourself and to know that life did not come with a user manual, and what's happening right now is as Spirit pushing to say, let's heal, let's overcome, let's remember who we are. And the people who have been reincarnated for so many life cycles have woken up, and we were meant to be in here together at this time to bring this new world, new earth, whatever the hell you want to call it. What it is a higher vibrational way of being, and that's what I talk about when I'm in that world. I don't do the news, I don't do politics, I don't do no bullshit. I'm very disconnected from that world, and that's the reason I say that world, is because I know that they are evil out there, but I also know, just as much as that they're evil, that there's love. And that love, there's a balance in between, a gray area in which we all will have to stand and balance between. That's what we're looking at right now. Amen.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a whole ball of come get you some. So, courage. A lot of people need it.
Yes.
To get out of their situations. Let's just face it, some people's situations suck.
Yes, they do. I've been there.
So,
I know.
I don't want to make this episode of Necromancer Live all about how to fucking make your life shiny all the time. And we talked about the cycles, and I want to cycle back to that. You see what I did there? So, before we leave, we need to talk about the cycles, the ups and downs, the valleys and the peaks. You're not going to feel fancy and happy all the time. So if you're not feeling fancy and happy, just be patient and wait. But courage needs to be there too, because a lot of people, let's face it, they're going to be in bad situations. They could have terminal cancer. They could have, their child has, something going on with them. Maybe their spouse passed away. There's so many things you can line up saying, oh, well, my life sucks. And what do you want? You want me to be happy and love and, so let's really hammer down on those types of situations, how we can deal with that and heal from that, and how it takes time. Let's see what Holly has to say about it.
Yeah. So for me, in my personal healing journey, I know things take time. Healing takes time. And especially when, for me, I gave over completely to my spiritual path. It's part of me. It is who I am. It's my calling. And it's not something that I just pick up because I think it's pretty and glittery and want to wear it and look pretty. No, because like Justin's saying, we talk about cycles. We talk about how it gets you into deep, deep up to your elbows in shit that you have not dealt with. And that means having to be down in the dirty, depressed. I remember at one time I would struggle with depression, and I never wanted to admit it to myself. And because I've always been a very strong person, and I didn't want to talk about them cycles of depression that come through because it meant that I was weak. And admitting things about yourself doesn't make you weak, and that weakness doesn't make you less than. It just means that you're being vulnerable to yourself. You are being real with yourself. And that's the important part here is, yes, it's okay to grieve. Yes, it's okay to be angry, because that's the human part of our emotions. And the biggest thing about it is it's okay to grieve, but not stay in it. It's okay to grieve, but you've got to understand. The biggest thing about it is it's okay to, what keeps me in this grief cycle, because there's been people that I've just had to back away from because I couldn't even give a light to their shadow, and you're not meant to. And this is another thing I want to mention, because people want to save people from their paths all the time. You see someone who is struggling, who is down, who you have tried to help so many times, and it just doesn't help. It's okay to hold space for people, but understand this. Each one of us is walking our own path of healing. Each one of us has to have these lessons. These lessons are very vital in our journey. And that is the things that we address about ourselves. Them are these shitty moments that we have in life when, yes, if your child has gotten cancer, I hate that. I hate that for anyone. But I also see beyond the grief cycles, the anger, the emotions behind it. There's always lessons to be learned, as shitty as the situations can be. And when I learned that and I started reacting differently to them, oh my God, that's when I started realizing that I am the master manifestation. I'm the creator of my own universe. When people say this, people think it's bullshit, but you have to feel it. You have to live it, and you have to be it. And most people don't, because they can't. They don't believe it because they can't, because there's a part of them that says this is how life is, and this is how we deal with it. Oh, wow. Oh, well, give me a pill and let me be numb for the rest of my fucking life. And because this is just the way that I am. No, it's not just the way that you are. And yeah, that's my take on it. And you can change it, and you can heal it, and you can overcome it. You can overcome anything in your life, or you can just be the prisoner of your own mind.
Empowerment is what she's saying. So to add to what I asked you and what you said, which was all good, obviously, to understand life and the way that you can cope with it and make sense of it, and where it has meaning in the darkest of times. For me, what I tell people and I teach my kids and I try to bestow on others is, unfortunately, if you want to have love, you want to have light, you got to have hate, you have to have the dark. You cannot have nice things unless you have, the opposite side of it. Yeah. Why is that? And here's the logic behind it. So, in order to know that you're loved, you got to know that you're not. In order to know that you're dead, you got to know that you're alive. Okay, yeah. So if you take that approach to everything, why you ask yourself, why this, why that? Well, that's the payment. Yeah. For this life. You have to pay for everything. Yes. Okay. So, and what I tell people, when we shed the flesh and we're out of our body, it's not like that. Mm-hmm. And that's why we keep coming back, because we crave it. We need these things that we can only have.
We choose it.
Yeah, we can't have it any other way.
Nope.
So here's why I'm saying this. This does not make it any better if your baby has cancer. It doesn't. But what it does is it makes you understand why the brain needs belief in the spirit. Because if that did not exist, then nothing on this earth would mean anything or matter.
No, absolutely.
It would not. It would just not. So you have to realize that in time, this will be gone. Your memory will forget. You'll be in another state of consciousness. We're sitting here talking about this, and like you alluded to before about reincarnation, we've probably had these conversations X amount of times and not even remember it.
Yes, absolutely. And I love that you said that, because it goes so deep and it's so vast, and I love it. And I love having these conversations with you, because you're someone that, like, you can keep me also on task with my ADD, but, you just take it to places that need to be. This is what people need to hear. This is where we're at right now. You wonder what your purpose is in life, guys. And this is something I'll sit with people and say, do you know what your purpose is? And that's when people kind of go, are you really asking me that? I'm like, listen, I don't sit and have normal conversations and talk about the weather or other people. I'm asking you what your purpose is. Do you know what your purpose is? So, that's where we're at right here. And I love it. I love that energy. I love that people know that they're not alone anymore. And it's okay. It's okay. Like, it's totally okay to not be okay.
That very well said. And I also, what was I going to say? I totally lost my train of thought. Damn it. That's all right.
You.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that I tell people all the time, you got to, someone will be like a coworker will take instruction from a team lead or a boss, and they'll look at them and they'll like, I don't know what the hell you just said. Yeah. And I'll repeat what they just said, but in ADHD language.
Yeah.
Because I have ADHD and I've had to learn how to cope with it.
Yeah.
Like my kids, and are like, I'm struggling in school. I'm like, well, you got to stop relying on the teacher to teach you the things.
Absolutely.
You have to
oh my God, that's a whole
get this resources from they're using it and teach your goddamn self. Because if you don't know how to do that and you don't learn how to do that, what are you going to do when the teaching stops?
Yeah. See, and that's unfortunate, because in today's society, which is that's changing, because we don't. And I was also one of those students who, and one of my kids was like really like me and struggled. We don't teach we don't teach people. I don't know. They say no child left behind. That's bullshit. We have very neurodivergent people who need to be on a different level of learning and not in with other kids who learn.
It would help if the teachers weren't asked to teach 30, 40 kids at a time. It would help if they were treated better and paid better and had better facilities and was given
no.
Public schools suck.
They do. And also the thing about it is it's a memorization. They're not teaching children anything. I think from a very small age, we should be teaching our children. Now, I work with kids. I work around kids, and I've worked around special needs. I've worked around a whole array of different people. Spirits led me to all kinds of different people, and I'm blessed for that, because I will analyze everybody. I'm able to pull things out. I know how to interact with children. Most of us, especially in today's generation, are being raised. Children with ADHD are being raised in very abusive homes and in school settings, because people don't know how to deal with them. And it's not that they're bad kids. It's just because nobody knows how to understand them. Nobody knows how to understand them children. I think that's sad. I think it's really sad that we are in that world has really killed the spirit of many people to make them think that they are not intelligent enough. And I was one of those people that had to work through that, to not think that I was smart enough, to think that I was not good enough. I was, but I was in different ways, not the same ways as they try to teach everybody to memorize everything that is false and quite literally has been all bullshit and lies.
Well,
but
that cycles back to the trap of conformity, don't it?
Yes, absolutely.
If you don't fit the mold, then fuck you.
Yes, absolutely. I realized that very quickly with my son, who really struggled. I mean, he is so very, very psychic as well, but he's like his mama. He's a
What's he got going on?
He's 20. Well, he's 19 now, but when he was younger he struggled. As soon as he hit third grade, they wanted me to put him on medicine, and I did, and I took him back off because it made him act so different. And he wasn't overactive, he was just really, really quiet and couldn't concentrate. And I was the same way in school, except back then it was like, you just do it, I was like, please put me in a special ed program, or because
Is he a dreamer?
Yes, absolutely. He had night terrors growing up. He had very intense, since he was a baby. And when he started having his experiences about this time, I started to
What's
have
experiences? What's he seeing stuff?
Oh, yeah. He would wake up. I always knew, like, okay, so I was already on my path and already had my experiences with astral projection, so I knew what to look for. I knew how to handle things. But like when I started seeing him do this, like one night we was laying in bed, he had already like woke up and he would start doing things in his sleep. He would start screaming or just yelling. Well, this particular night he was sleeping with me, and I woke up with him because I got that mother instinct. I could feel him in the bed, and he was sitting up and he was just staring off. And I said, okay, he's having one of his night terrors. And so I didn't, try to shake him. I didn't scream at him. I was just like, Canaan, Canaan, Canaan. Well, he finally, like, I don't know, something spooked him on that side where he was. And I say that because he wasn't on this plane. He was over there. he was over there and on a lower vibration. But anywho, he screamed and he took off running through the house, and he come to the bedside, and I died, Justin, because he looked at me and his eyes rolled in the back of his head. And he puts his head back like this, and then he comes back and he gets in bed, he falls asleep, and the next day he does not remember that at all. And it took me a minute. I was like, okay, I got this, I got this, but this is my child, so so it's like, okay, I've got to understand that Canaan has been hijacked. That was not my son, that was Canaan being hijacked with whatever entity that he had encountered on that plane of existence he was walking in. So he would have instances where he'd pee the bed. He would talk about the thing in his closet. He would talk about, I taught him, honestly, I taught him about shielding. I taught him about, but also to grow his powers, because he's very, very psychic. I would do Zener cards with my kids growing up. I would do flame magic with my kids, just really to keep their mind open. And Canaan, he shut it off, and he had to, because he's so empathic. Canaan is a very intelligent soul, and he is very much so in tune, but that's on him. He has to, this is his path on this life, to embrace it, if he's going to embrace it or if he's just going to let it keep pulling him down. And unfortunately, as his mother, that's what you got to do for your children. When you see them in them positions, you hold light for them and you teach them, and then you hope that they will find their way on their path, because you can't control anyone's path.
Have you tried any energy healing or anything at all like that?
I have. I've done energy work on him, but he is, a teenager. And so the boys they grew up with a woo-woo mama, okay, a spiritual mama. So their take on it right now is a little bit more different. They understand their mother is this way, and Canaan is he is. When I feel Canaan's energy, it's like he does like I do. So for me, the way that I do things is I analyze things in my mind. So in my mind, there's a screen, and then Spirit's showing me how things interact and how things work. I feel like his is like that, but 10 times more intense, like bordering the line of what people would put people on autism scale with, and that's that neurodivergent mind. It's not so much that it's autism, but it is a higher spectrum of understanding. It's insane. I don't know.
I can tell you what I'm picking up if you want to hear it.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So
He won't listen to me about it. So.
I mean, this is just for your information. If you do with what you will.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would say autistic. Even Asperger's, I would not label. I would be careful not to label that. What I'm seeing is okay, let's make a metaphor here. There is a lens. And that lens isn't sharply focused in this material reality. It was worse when he was younger, obviously.
Yeah.
And when you grow to cope and you find a way to adjust the lens. But I'm seeing his lens was completely out of focus.
Yeah.
And he was seeing all these other things flooding into his consciousness, because I feel like he was trying to not like actually pay attention a lot of time, because I feel like, when you're saying the autism part of it, there's a lot of things that were disturbing him in the material plane. Like,
oh, absolutely.
No, so what I was going to say was, I was want to finish it. I'm sorry. There is a way to fix that lens to where it works properly, but
he's got to be willing.
He's going to have to be on board with that.
Yeah, and that he's not ready for it, and he hasn't been ready for it. And I'm like, okay. I don't push it. He has we talk about his dreams. He'll, every once in a while, he'll go, Mom, and then he'll release, and then he'll go like a whole year or two and not say a word. And the reason I do want to clarify, the reason I say autism, the reason I say neurodivergent, because today's society has put all of our kids and everyone on that scale. And so what people may see as autism is what you're saying it is, like the way you explained it, however you want to explain it, or however people need to understand it. But, as far as like diagnosing your own children with any kind of thing, we're all that way. If you really wanted to be like technical, we're all on a spectrum of some type. We are receivers of energy is what we are. So the more that we heal, the more we're going to see generations of children that can't cope. But unless we are coming in and teaching them how to cope, which is what we're doing. There
is a lot of crap that they're putting into the food and the water that's fucking our children up each generation.
Ourselves.
Yes. But as more generations go down, the weaker our immunities to those chemicals and to those intrusive agents and stuff they put into the shit. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Each generation gets weaker in the defense against that.
Yeah.
Like me and your generation are much more protected, and I mean not super protected, but we can cope and deal with and fight off a lot of those things. Now, like with your son's generation, there's not a whole lot they can do. Like their DNA is so compromised.
Yes.
It's bad.
It is. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was just talking about it, and I was meditating this morning.
It is, Christy.
Just looking at my own journey. And because I always, like, ever since I started my self-love journey, it was all about my health. And so in that, I already had like some spiritual stuff going on, but at that point, early on in my life, I didn't realize they were all three, that, something that I'd be working on. But anyway, the health thing, I found it in my spirituality. I found spirit leading me to showing me things and to understand things, just like you do spiritually about your mind, about the consciousness. We talk about the mind all the time, and we never cover the body and the connection with the mind and the body and the soul. It's the three. It's the three of alignment that we have to have. And then just going on a bigger spectrum here with the healers is, if you're at this point and you're on this journey, you have to heal your body. There's no, no, I ain't going to do it. A part of your healing process and this journey that you signed up for, you are trying to heal your body.
Well, it's interconnected, right?
Yes, it absolutely is. I have, it's amazing to see the connection and how we go back to the earth, and how we go back to the connection to our selves with earth, and how our outlook is about really sustaining ourselves. You know, our generations are the last of the generations, I feel like, that had enough knowledge as well. You know, yes, we got passed down some traumas, but let's talk about the good stuff that we got handed down. We got handed down ways of surviving. And that ways of survival, yeah, they did it because they had a lack of food. Well, we have a lack of food here still today. That never changed.
They have some of mine.
They started putting shit back into the food cycles that we aren't even supposed to have into our bodies, that we should never have in our bodies. And now we're addicted to them. We're so addicted to them now that we have pills to cover up the symptoms instead of letting people know the things that they need to change to cure those things. You know, it's sad to me that it's that same mentality about healing your mind. You know, it's the same mentality. It's hard. It's not easy. It's addressing the things about yourself. It's saying, yeah, I'm a lazy ass and I don't want to get up in the morning the first thing and do a workout. But the truth is, like, self-mastery and self-discipline is where it's at. It is making yourself be accountable for things, and it's making yourself show up for yourself every day. It's not about anybody else. It's not about someone keeping you in order or keeping you holding you responsible for your behaviors or your eating patterns or what you're putting in your body. You have to be responsible for your own self. And the food is a big issue because we need to allow dense energy as much as possible within our bodies. Our light bodies is very, very dense, and everything that we put in our bodies that is processed, that is full of chemicals, that is full of bullshit, that weighs down your light body. So the people who are ascending, the people that are healing, the master healers, whatever you want to call us, we have really been drawn to that path of holistic healing. And now a lot of people are, because we have to. It's part of the ascension process. Our light body must be free of that, and that's a long process. I feel like you know, in my mind, if I was to compare it to that, you know, 3D world and say, well, that's a long process, but no, look at everything that's happening around us. I don't know about you guys, but local communities are trying to get you to build gardens. They're offering to give you supplies. They're offering to show you how to build a garden. Why do you think they're doing that? Why?
Because they're trying to teach
you
how to get back. Yeah, they're trying to teach you how to get back to, you know, the way it was, because the way it's heading is bad. Yes. Well, I did want, I know we need to probably wrap this up quick, but I wanted to mention the interconnection between body and soul. I subscribe to chakras a lot. Yeah. They show how our bodies are interconnected with the energy vortices. You know, and if you haven't taken a look at that and you're interested in that, it is very valuable in understanding how the mind or the body and the spirit is interconnected through energy. Yes. Okay. So definitely take a look at that. Holly, yeah, we're going to have to wrap this up, but I really appreciate you on, you know, short notice coming on here, because I was talking to Missy. I was like, man, I'm getting tired of me just yapping my gums about things I've already talked about a million times. We need to find some people. Would you mind referring me some guests that maybe you've talked to, or maybe that's in your community or network that I can potentially come or bring them on and
them? Absolutely. I got a bunch for you. And they'll take you there. They'll take you down that rabbit hole too. So and that's where you love. That's where you reside too. So on that highway of the rabbit hole. We'll call it Highway Rabbit Hole.
On a highway to rabbit holes. All right. You're awesome, Holly. Thank you. Do you want to plug anything before we get off here?
No, I love you. I love you, Missy. Thank you for having me on. I enjoy these conversations. That's what we need more in this world. That's what I crave in my life every day.
Well, reinforcement is something that, you know, we kind of subtly talked about, But in order to heal and stay healed and stay on the path, reinforcement of everything that we talk about is important in doing that. So we're probably just going to have to make it a thing so we can constantly reinforce it. So we can't use the excuse, oh, I forgot or whatever.
Yeah. That's a good one. Or, I didn't do it.
All right. If you want to hang out while I wrap up the show, you can. If you want to get off right now, you can.
Like, okay.
Just hang tight. All right, guys, we're going to end it there. Sorry, I had to give her a show first as kind of like a tag team thing. So we had a 15-minute, break. So running a little bit behind. But thank you for joining me every time. You guys make it, worthwhile. Thank you for your comments. Whoops, wrong thing. Social media. If you don't know where to find me on the internet, that's weird because everybody that watches this show watches it every time, so they know. But I got the button so I can do it. Interfacedeath.net or .com. That is the most expensive one that you wouldn't want to go look at. Please do. Thank you. We have the event. I'm going to play the promo to the event that I hope some people go to. Okay. Paranormal U. I'm sure you've seen it on Facebook all over the place. I've paid Facebook to cram it down your throat. I'm sorry. But yeah, Patreon. Thank you very much, everybody. You see on the screen, they support us financially, and it is the reason why I keep doing it. Let's just face it. So, if you want to stick around, watch a promo. If you haven't, that's weird too, but I'm going to play it, and we'll watch Josh promote his Deadlight. You guys have a good night. We're going to try to find someone to interview next week. Don't know who it is yet, but stay tuned. You have a good night. Have you ever wanted to learn how to capture paranormal evidence that would hold up to scientific scrutiny?
That was weird.
Are you interested in learning how to use the latest technology on your paranormal investigations? You can learn how to do this and more at my very unique event called Paranormal U at the Old Licking County Jail in Newark, Ohio on May 4th. My name is Justin Brown, founder and lead investigator of Interface Death Paranormal Research, based in Southern Ohio. I've spent the last 11 years trying to validate paranormal research by applying scientific principles to my fieldwork. This allows me to methodically investigate paranormal claims like EVP, ghosts, and hauntings. At this event, I will hold a 6-hour class on how to use science to investigate the paranormal. Instruction on how to use the latest audio and video equipment tailored to record voice phenomena and apparitions. Parapsychology, metaphysics, and the occult will be explored and detailed. After a dinner break, the group will get the chance to use their newly acquired knowledge to investigate the 135-year-old jail. Can science validate what many call the unexplained? Follow the link to learn how to get tickets to this event, and we can try to answer one of the most oldest questions about life after death together. We have been peering into shadow for 5 long years, struggling to see what lurks in the night. Working from the ground up and collaborating with hundreds of paranormal investigators, we have been able to develop a product that not only became the best night vision illuminator on the market, but became the last light that our customers would purchase for the rest of their lives.
What Deadlight has done for me as an investigator has really
kind of changed the gamut of how we investigate, because before Deadlight, you used to get the little wonky lights you buy off of, offline and stuff like that, which sometimes didn't always work. They were really glitchy. You guys sent me some Deadlights. I used them for Paranormal Warehouse. We did some filming for Epic Haunts, and I'm blown away.
I think the quality of the merchandise that you get from Deadlight LLC, I think is top notch. The fact that it's handmade, by Josh, and the quality of it, and the craftsmanship that he puts into it, the time and effort that he puts into it, speaks volumes when the merchandise is received. The fact that he honored all of his work, pretty much lifetime guaranteed to fix it if something goes wrong, I think stands out too. The quality of the product and the customer service is top notch.
Whether you are a seasoned investigator or a beginner, Deadlight has a lighting solution tailored to your needs and your equipment. Deadlight is made for all who are not afraid to see what lurks in the night.